I'm open to change as appropriate. So that it acts just like a normal concept. So it has the same messages coming in and out, does exactly the same thing as a normal concept does from an external perspective. It doesn't do any local inference though, so it doesn't have to process local inference.
I agree.
Yeah, and then the actual structure itself is a little different to a normal concept. It has beliefs and term links.
Where the beliefs are events.
Yeah, all events for the occurrence time that names the concept.
What I'm not entirely clear about is whether temporal concepts should also term link to classical concepts, or if they really should only term link to temporal concepts. Because to some degree, the general concepts can combine eternal with events.
Yeah, and they still will.
So I'm not sure if this is additionally necessary to link temporal concepts to classical concepts.
Okay, I think that there's a plus and a minus here. The plus is that temporal concepts will sometimes, by the nature of the fact that the beliefs they link to, they will also happen to be coincidentally semantically related, not just temporary. So in a way, that's acting as if they were a normal general concept, because it can then do semantically related inference as well as the temporal inference. So it sort of does that to a degree anyway. It's indirect though, not direct. I accept that. On the what I see as an issue though is arbitrarily linking concepts that can be used in general inference other than from a temporal perspective. And if you allow temporal concepts to link to general concepts, then I think there's the potential for arbitrary inference to occur.
Should not be, because now I see what you mean. Okay, I agree.
Okay.
That this is really what could happen. So
yeah.
We should not allow it.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I know that they are kind of limited in a way, in the sense that the purpose I created them for was really for perception processing to enable us to create these temporal sequences of perceptive data, and then general inference would take over. I think once we've played with these and learned a bit more about them, maybe kind of the next version, we can find a way of combining general and temporal so that we have, both those aspects together. Yeah, but I don't know how to do it yet. I haven't got enough experience playing with this stuff to think that far ahead.
Probably in some days we already know.
Well, maybe, yeah.
Let's see. And the biggest question to me is how to effectively link temporal concepts together.
Okay. Well, that's actually dead easy. I thought through that. So whenever you create a temporal concept, the term links, they're a fixed size, depending on whatever duration window you want to use. The midpoint of that window is the occurrence time that names the concept. The rest are all times, going out from 1 to -n of that window. Now, those concepts may or may not exist. If they don't exist, it's not a problem, because all that will happen is it will try and send a message to that concept. That concept won't exist, therefore that inference will not occur.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's as simple as that. It'll basically, it just creates what's called a dead letter, basically. So it's an undelivered message, and it just goes into the dead letter point, and it's ignored.
This is nice with actors.
Yeah, exactly. It's a really simple mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine quite often that we won't necessarily have all these slots filled in all the actors. If the perception stream is quiet, there may well be very little coming in at any one point in time. So it's biased towards picking times close to its occurrence time, and less biased to picking them further away. That was kind of the thinking there.
And I think it's fine to some extent. Also with the temporal chaining approach, we had the problem that I wouldn't call it a problem, but a bias for the system to combine events which happen near each other in time. And I think that it's not the role of the temporal concept to resolve this, because it can be resolved by, for example, null-9 operators, which semantically relate events together, so the system could decide to, for example, apply inference between events
Right,
which are
and
far away.
and you could have this actually. You could have this bias controllable as well. So that if you wanted it to pick items that were further apart, you could just adjust the bias. So in fact, it would be more inclined to pick things that were further apart than closer together. So I guess there's various ways we can play with that through operators and individual operators that do it, or we can have a high level operator that just changes the bias of the system, or various ways. I mean, there are all sorts of possibilities there.
That there's an additional system worked out for getting rid of this locality issue, but I need some more time to show it. Probably I have it next time.
Okay.
It's a bit like how should I say? It's a bit like an AND road. If, for example, a specific occurrence stem had an important task, and there was another occurrence stem which had events of high priority, and whenever it by accident selects this, it will, the same as for concepts, apply Temporal, and suddenly those concepts will be biased to link with each other, although they are far away in occurrence stem.
Okay.
So it would be like I guess
I think that's a possibility. I agree, and I did think about how we could link up the temporal concepts with each other with Heb type rule, but then I thought, in fact, actually it doesn't actually make sense with a temporal concept, because by definition they're not actually occurring at the same time. So kind of Heb rule didn't actually make sense. So it needed to be something that was a bit different to that, because obviously the Heb rule basically is based on the fact that things are occurring at the same time, whereas sorry.
I see what you mean, but I'm not sure if it's a big issue here. For example, let's say, oh no, it works. Let's say this concept has is important, has a high priority because the events in it had a high priority, and let's say this is a concept of high priority. We could automatically apply a probabilistic selection, which prefers those. Out of probably it would also have a bias here, but what I mean is it would be formed by the priorities of the temporal concepts.
Okay, no, I think that makes sense, and it should do, because it may well be that that there's only certain temporal concepts within the time window that have even got events in. So by definition, they should be higher priority than the empty ones. So I agree that it makes sense to try and connect to the ones that have a higher concept priority. This doesn't reflect that. You're right. I agree. That's reminded me actually that there is a piece that we still haven't done yet, which is integrating the emotion aspects, and that will be relevant for this discussion as well. Okay, so yeah, you're right. We can find a way of using the concept priority to actually. I don't know how yet, but it would be nice to be able to do that. The one thing I'm trying to avoid is having concepts talk to each other, just from a performance perspective. But that shouldn't be the only reason we don't do it. But we have managed to find solutions to everything else so far, so I'll try and stick with these constraints for now. Okay, all right. At some point in the not too distant future, I could really do with you going over the emotion paper with me, because I don't understand it in enough detail yet to start applying it to the system. And I would really like to get that put into the system before we get to next weekend when we're going to do the walkthroughs. So is there some time between now and then when we could do that?
Sure. This week entirely free.
Oh, brilliant.
Besides work.
Okay, that's great. So can we say tomorrow evening then?
Yes,
fantastic.
it's possible.
Okay, all right. So let's put that in the diary then. Same time, okay?
Yes.
Okay, so 8 o'clock Central European time, and then we'll go over the emotion aspects, and then see how we can apply that to where we are. In the meantime, I will add those changes to the flowcharts, add the anticipation handling in, and post that to you guys. I think that's all I had to cover. Anything from anybody else?
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Cheers, Jared. See you soon. Bye, guys.